Good morning, friends. Good morning, Rabbi Glatstein. Shalom Aleichem, Ruchim Abayim to the Kol Agar de Pirka. Here, Monday morning, Monday, National Shiur. Welcome, everyone. We have an amazing topic today. We're preparing for the Yom Tif of Chanukah. Chanukah is in only about a little bit over a week, and I want to bring to your attention the Sefer, The Light and the Splendor. If you have this Sefer, this is available at Art Scroll in Svarim stores on a deep exploration of many essays on the Yom Tif of Chanukah and Tu B'Shvat, The Light and the Splendor. It's actually on sale at Art Scroll right now. There's also another Sefer on Chanukah, Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes, The Eternal Children of Hashem, that's available. And there are a lot of important essays connecting Rabbi Meir with Chanukah, and of course, the Sefer on Chinuch Habanim, which you could get on our site, rabbidg.com. If anybody would like to join us for our this year, 2025 Yarchei Kala, that will be taking place President's Week in Panama, you could go to our site for more details. We have limited spots, so please check that out. Today, we're going to be learning about perhaps the most well-known question regarding Chanukah. I'm sure you must have heard this question in your studies and over the years. It's probably the most well-known question in all of Judaism, and that is the famous question of the Beis Yosef. By the way, even though the Beis Yosef was not the first to ask this question, the Rishonim already bring this up, the Meiri, the Eshkoel. Nevertheless, this is the question that is attributed to Maran Bet Yosef. He says, Ve'ika l'meidak, lama kavu shmoina yamim, why did they enact 8 days? Dekivan deshemen shebepach hayabai kedei lahadlik laila achas. Since the oil in the jug was enough to light for one night, v'nimtza shaloi nasa hanes ella b'sheva haleilos. There was enough oil to last for one night. So the miracle wasn't 8 days, the miracle was 7 days. How do you make an 8-day Yom Tif for a 7-day miracle? It's not like they didn't find any oil at all. If they wouldn't have found oil, and they would have had an empty flask, and it would have lit for 8 days, then we could have a Yom Tif of 8 days. But they didn't find an empty flask. They found a full flask. So day one wasn't a miracle. So then why would you make a miracle for 8 days? Why would you make a Yom Tif for 8 days if the miracle was only for 7 days? That's the famous kasha of the Beis Yosef. In my time, there was a Sefer Ner Lameya with 100 answers to the Beis Yosef's question, and now today you already have Svarim with 500 answers to the Beis Yosef's question. Here the Yevanim thought they were making us forget the Torah. Oh boy, if they only knew that because of them, there would be the Beis Yosef's kasha that has promulgated more Torah than any other question. You know, if you wanted to know why does Hashgacha have it, that there are more answers to the Beis Yosef's kasha than any other question, well, right back at ya. The Yevanim thought they were making us forget about the Torah, and they were just proliferating Torah. One of the most well-known answers to this question is, to me, the most troublesome answer. And this is the answer of none other than the Alter of Kelm cited in the Sefer Chachma U'Musar. And he says, Va'agav echtoiv l'rum kvoidoi me'inyan Chanukah. He brings the Beis Yosef's question. He says, I am panim l'Torah, and I'm also going to offer my approach. He says, the miracle of Chanukah, the truth is it really a big miracle? So you say, well, the fact that it lit for 8 days is a miracle, the fact that it lit for an extra 7 days, but actually the truth is the 7 added days more miraculous than the first day? Can we take for granted the first day? Well, you say, of course we could take it for granted. Oil burns. But can we explain why oil burns? Why does oil burn and apple juice doesn't burn? What is the explanation? What is the rationale? What is the mechanism of how oil burns? And if it comes down to it, can we really explain it, or we just know it to be a reality of existence that oil burns and other liquid substances do not burn? So just because those are the facts, but that doesn't make it less miraculous when you, so to speak, break it down and contemplate and think about it. Well, how does that work? You know, the Alter of Kelm cites the famous Gemara in Tainus that Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa was very poor, and he saw that his daughter was sad. He said, why are you sad? He said, oh, I accidentally lit vinegar instead of oil, and now it's not going to last. And Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa said, Biti, ma yichbal lach, what do you care? Misha amar l'shemen v'yidlak, hu yomer l'chaymitz v'yidlak. He who said oil should burn, he should say vinegar should burn. He who says oil should burn will say that vinegar will burn. In other words, what we see from this Gemara is that we think that oil burning is natural and vinegar is supernatural. But the truth is, either one is inexplicable. Either one is really irrational. And just because one we take for granted, that doesn't make it any less miraculous. Says the Alter of Kelm that the 7 days of Chanukah commemorate the fact that oil that was only supposed to last for one night lasted for 8 nights. So we have 7 days. And we have an added day. We have an added day for the miracle that oil burns in the first place. Let's not take that for granted. All the natural processes. You know, let's say a person is thirsty. So why would hydrogen and oxygen quench their thirst? If someone is thirsty and they breathe in oxygen, then they're going to start speaking like this very, very quickly. And oh no, actually that might be helium. But if they breathe in oxygen, they might get a little lightheaded, but it's not going to quench their thirst. And if they breathe in hydrogen, it's also not going to quench their thirst. So the fact that 2 items of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen quenches one's thirst is a miracle. We take it for granted because we see it all the time and it just works. But that itself is a miracle. So 7 days are for the supernatural, and one is to realize that nature itself is a miracle. I'm sure you've all heard that answer before. I am not the first one to share with you this answer to the Beis Yosef's question. But I might be the first to ask on this answer that if you think about it, this should not be a sufficient answer. Are you satisfied with this answer? Oh, you know why we have an extra day of Chanukah? We have 1 day, we have 7 days for the miracle of extra burning and 1 day for the miracle of the oil. You really believe that? So why don't we have 9 days of Pesach? We should have, the 7th day is the miracle of the splitting of the sea, and let's tack on an extra day for the miracle of water while we're at it. Don't take water for granted. Or let's say Purim, 1 day that our lives were saved supernaturally, and let's tack on a day for life in general. Every day is a miracle. Let's add on a day. Yeah, don't take life for granted. Or Sukkot, we should have 10 days of Sukkot. We have 9 days for the miracle of clouds of glory, and we have a 10th day for clouds. Don't take clouds for granted. You think clouds are natural? It's a miracle that water vapor forms clouds. Why? Hey, what are you doing? You're going back to work too early. What about cloud day? Regular cloud day, just like Chanukah. We have 7 days for the miracle that it lasted 7 extra days, and 1 day for the miracle of the oil. So I know you said it over at Chanukah parties for the last 50 years. And believe me, even though everyone was nodding their head, they weren't even listening to you. But if they would be listening to you, and they would stop and think about that answer, they would say, pal, there are 499 other answers. Why do you have to pick this one? Does it make sense? This is the answer to the Alter of Kelm. But we really have to study what is the plausibility of this answer. But we're going to see this answer is really the essence of what Chanukah is all about. And by the way, Rav Moshe Feinstein Zechariah Bracha gives the same answer as the Alter of Kelm, that 1 day is added on for the miracle that oil burns in the first place, quoting the Gemara in Tainus about Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa. Now, Reb Moshe says, and he substantiates this answer from the nusach of the Al Hanisim, where it says, "V'hidliku neiros bechatzros kodshecha." V'hidliku neiros bechatzros kodshecha. What do you mean, v'hidliku neiros? What do you mean, v'hidliku neiros? It should say they lit the menorah. Why v'hidliku neiros bechatzros kodshecha? The answer is they want to emphasize that not only did they light the menorah, but the miracle of Chanukah is not only the miracle of the menorah, but the miracle of burning in general, the miracle of kindling in general, the miracle that oil burns, that itself is a great miracle. By the way, this answer of the Altar of Kelm is very reminiscent of the words of the Ramban. The Ramban perhaps penned his most famous words at the end of Parshas Boy. The Ramban writes, "Umin hanisim hagedolim hamefursamim," from the great and open, publicized miracles, Adam moida banisim hanastarim, a person acknowledges the hidden miracles. Shehem yisoid haTorah kula, they are the foundation of the whole Torah. She'ein la adam chelek b'Torahs Moshe Rabbeinu, a person has no share in the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Ad shenamin, until he believes b'chol divarenu, that all of our words, umikreinu, and everything that happens to us, shekulam nisim, it's all miraculous, ein bohem teva, there's no nature, uminhage shalaylam. The Ramban says the purpose of open miracles is to show there are no hidden miracles. That the purpose of open miracles, is to show there is no nature. Nature is a hidden miracle. So the purpose of the miraculous feat that the candles burned an extra 7 days, the whole purpose of them is to reveal that the fact that oil burns in the first place is a miracle. In other words, the purpose of any open miracle is to show there's no such thing as nature. Everything is the Yad Hashem. But as we asked, by the way, the Reb David Kohen, Rosh Yeshiva of Lakewood, the Rosh Yeshiva of Hebron, he says that this is the meaning of what we say in the Ma'is Sur, B'nei Vina Yemei Shmoina Kavu Shir Urananim. Men of Bina, 8 days they established song and music. So Reb David Kohen asks, what do you mean B'nei Bina, men of understanding? Why understanding? What does understanding usually refer to? Understanding refers to lahavin davar mitaych davar, to understand one thing from the other. To understand one thing from the other. B'nei bina lahavin davar mitaych davar. Yemei shmaina kavu shir urananim. But according to this approach of the Altar of Kelm, the words B'nei bina are very understandable. From the 7 days of open miracle, they were Maven, davar mitaych davar, they understood that the first day itself was also a miracle. So b'nei bina, yemei shmaina, kavu shir urananim. So that's the meaning of the Pizmain, Yevanim nikbetzu alai, b'nei vina, yemei shmaina, kavu shir urananim. Now, what this is going to bring us to is really a fundamental understanding of Chanukah in general. Because as we asked, certainly the purpose of open miracles is to reveal that there is no nature, but why is that relevant to Chanukah? You know, in Tikunei Zohar, in Tikun Yud Gimel, the Zohar brings to our attention a very important revelation. Let's give a little introduction. One of the basic premises of the mystical dimensions of Torah is that there are 10 spheros, 10 spheres of divine manifestation, and through them Hashem runs the world. Keser or Das, Chachma, Bina, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, Yisoid, and Malchus. In fact, the Gemara in Chagiga on Daf Yud Beis, the Gemara says that Hashem created the world with 10 statements, And the Marsha says the 10 statements with which Hashem created the world are the 10 spherois. The spherois are not Hashem, but they're some type of emanation or manifestation of the way God operates, through which we're able to recognize Him. And each Yom Tif and every holy occasion is associated with a particular sphera. Says Tikunei Zayar, the sphera associated with Chanukah is Hoid, splendor. What does that mean? Reb Chaim Friedlander explains that the Middah of Hoid, the Middah of splendor, is connected and comes to fruition through Chanukah. Comes the Chidah in the Sefer Dvarim Achadim, and the Chidah says that based on the Tikunei Zayar, we can give another answer to the question of why Chanukah is 8 days. The Beis Yosef asked, why is Chanukah 8 days? It should be 7 days. And he says, well, because Chanukah is associated with the Middah of Hoid, and Hoid is the 8th Middah of the Spherois, therefore Chanukah is 8 days. Now, that's very interesting. So Chanukah is associated with the Middah of Hoid. By the way, the Shlach HaKadosh also says Chanukah and Purim are two friends. Purim is Netzach, and Chanukah is Hoid. So what exactly is Hoid? And this is really a very beautiful and important idea. You know, in Lashon HaKodesh, there are words that are sometimes paired together, and one may think they're synonyms. There are Mefarshim on Tanakh who learn that there are synonyms in Lashon HaKodesh. Chazak ve'ematz, al tira ve'al techas. There are commentaries who feel that there are synonyms in Lashon HaKodesh. However, the Malbim, Rabbi Meir Leib ben Yechiel Michal, the Malbim, Rabbi Meir Leibish ben Yechiel Michal, who was a great halachist, he was also a great commentary on the Chumash. The Beis Halevi says that there are certain psukim that even the Rishonim could not explain, only the Malbim was able to explain it. The Malbim wrote a Sefer HaKarmel, where he explains that there's no such thing as Shemos HaNerdafim, there's no such thing as synonyms. Each Hebrew word has a particular and specific nuance and connotation. The Malbim writes about the words Hoid and Hadar in the Sefer HaKarmel. He writes about it in the Malbim on Kedoshim, and he writes about it in Parshas Pinchas. And that is, the word Hoid and Hadar means something else entirely. Hadar refers to physical, external beauty. An esrog is pre-eitz Hadar. It has to have a beautiful color, beautiful shape, bumps, external physical beauty. Beroiv am hadras melech. With a multitude of people, brings glory to the king. The king is glorified through a multitude. It's not actual honor, because we don't know why this multitude is cheering for the king. We don't know if the multitude is cheering because maybe the king will use chemical weapons against them, or it's being forced, but there is an external honor lent to the king with a multitude of people. However, Hoid refers to inner beauty. Hoid refers to inner beauty. It refers to a splendor, a majesty. There might be some people that their physical appearance might not be objectively pleasant or appealing, but there's an inner beauty about them because of their humility, because of their wisdom, because of their good character. So that's not external beauty. It's not like their physical features or form is appealing, but there's some internal splendor that they have that shines from their essence. That is what we call Hoid. Hadar is external beauty. Hoid is internal splendor. Like V'hadarta Pnei Zakein, that you should be Mahader Panav. You should show them external honor. Yehoshua was given Hadar. It says, but Moshe Rabbeinu was told, V'nasata mehoidcha alav. Hoid and Hadar are V'nasata mehoidcha alav, for example. The Malbim says in Pinchas that he already explained the difference between Hoid and Hadar. Hoid is Yoifi hapanimi, hanafshi. Hoid is inner beauty of the soul, and Hadar is external beauty. And Hoid was given to Moshe, and Hadar was given to Yehoshua. If Yehoshua was given Hoid, nobody could stand up to him. So now when we see that Chanukah is associated with Hoid, that means Chanukah is associated with inner beauty and inner splendor, not external beauty. And this is very significant, because actually the worldview of Yavan was Hadar. They glorified the human body. They glorified bodybuilding, body sculpting, muscle tone. That reflected the quality of a person. The Yavanim judged a person by their physical characteristics, by their external beauty. To them, the splendor of the soul was irrelevant. And the reason for that is they looked at the universe in the same way. In the world of the Yavanim, they valued only what could be seen, what could be weighed, what could be measured, what could be computed, what could be analyzed, what could be calculated. They viewed the world by externality. The Ramban writes, says Ramban, muzzle the mouths of the wise men of nature, who are drawn after Greek ideology, who deny anything that cannot be expressed, that cannot be experienced by the senses. That's what the Ramban writes in Parshas Achrei Mos. The worldview, look at the Ramban. Lachsoim pi hamischakmin beteva hanimshachrim achrei hayavani asher hikchish kol davar zulasi hamurgush bay v'higis datoi lachshoid. So they didn't believe in only what they could see, measure, evaluate, computate. Yavan worshipped and appreciated Hadar, external beauty, superficial appearance. And that's how they looked at the world. They see the world spins on its axis, and they saw there were various processes. There's evaporation, there's condensation, there's precipitation, there's digestion, there's respiration. And that's just the way the world was set up. That's the mechanism of the universe. But the Jewish people are not a nation of Hadar. We don't view people based on their Hadar. We don't evaluate people based on their Hadar. And we don't evaluate the world based on the way it looks on the outside. We don't say the reason why it rains is because there's just a process of evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. We believe that there's an inner working of the universe, that if somebody comes to shul and comes with derech eretz and prays with kavana and accords himself with honesty, we believe that that causes rain to fall. So you say, how does a person's good deed, how does putting on tefillin affect the rain cycle? The Greeks would never say good deed or good character affects the rain cycle. That's because the Greeks only believe what they could computate and measure. They value somebody based on their muscle tone and their body sculpting and the shape of their form and image. So they view people on the outside, they view events on the outside, and they view the world on the outside, and they do not believe in any hoid, not about other people, and not about the way the world operates. But we live in a world of hoid. We believe kulam nisim ein bahem tevam and hagai shalaylam. We believe there's no such thing as evaporation. There is no condensation. There's no precipitation. There's no digestion. There's only the miraculous hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do we come to realize that everything, even what seems to be natural, is supernatural? Min hanisim, hamifursamim, hagedolim, Adam Middah benisim nistarim shehem yesoid haTorah kula she'ein la'adam chelek b'Torahs Moshe ad shenamin b'chol dvarenu u'mikrenu shekulam nisim. That's the foundation of the Torah. Maybe when Chazal say the Yevanim wanted us to forget the Torah, they wanted us to forget the principle upon which the whole Torah stands. The Torah stands upon the principle that from the great miracles, we acknowledge the hidden miracles. The Torah stands on the principle of hod, that there is no nature in this world. There is no external veil. You see, this world has an external veil. It has a hadar to it. There are beautiful processes. There's the process of sunrise and sunset, and the process of rotation on the axis and revolution around the sun. But that veil, when you pull away the veil on the inside, there's no process. It's the hand of God. It's the splendor of the running of the universe. So the battle between Yavan and Klal Yisrael, the battle of hod and hadar, of how we evaluate human worth. Is a person evaluated based on their externalities and superficial veil, or based on character, nobility of spirit, humility, and wisdom? That is the point of disagreement between Yavan and Yisrael. And that plays out in how we view the world. The Yavanim only value the hadar of the world, the processes they could see, measure, computate, and add up. Not so the Jewish people. We don't believe in processes. Through the open miracle, we come to recognize the hidden miracle. That's the Middah of hod. It is integral to Chanukah. It is definitional to Chanukah. To recognize that through the miracle of the fact that the oil that was supposed to last for one day lasted another 7 days, it is definitional to Chanukah to come to the realization that just like oil could burn, vinegar could burn, that the first day is also a miracle. We don't randomly tack on specifically to Chanukah one extra day because, why not tack on an extra day while we're at it? We wouldn't do this any other time of the year, but it's integral to Chanukah. It is definitional to Chanukah. Chanukah is the Yom Tif of hod. Chanukah is the Yom Tif that we emphasize the inner splendor, the inner majesty of people, of events, and of the way the world works. That is the very definition of Chanukah. So of all the Yomim Tovim in the year, the Yom Tif that we specifically add that extra day is the Yom Tif of Chanukah. Now, let's add a very beautiful nekuda. Because the Gra writes in Imrei Noyam in Brachos, Daf Nun Ches, that hod is a lashon of hoida, of gratitude. We know that the Yom Tif of Chanukah is intertwined with gratitude. The purpose of the Yom Tif is lehoidoisu lahalel. And the Gra says the Middah of hod is intertwined with the idea of gratitude of hoida. Hod, the sphera of hod, is connected to the Middah of hoida. And I would like to explain that in a very compelling way. You know why people have a hard time having gratitude to Hashem? And we all have a hard time. Because we think to ourselves, what should I have gratitude for? That I make money? I make money because I work. That I have children? I have children because I got married. That I'm healthy because I exercise or I eat right. Because I have a house because I bought it. So what am I having gratitude for? Oh yeah, gratitude because things are basically good. But in the back of our mind we're thinking, what exactly am I having gratitude for? This is what happens when you do the right things. I should have gratitude that I have produce. I have produce because I planted. Because we live in a world of hadar. And we take things for granted because we fall for the hadar of existence. we fall, yeah, of course I have children, because when you get married, you have children. And of course I have money, because when you go to work, you make money. But wait, stop for a second. Is that how it is? Is there just this process that just works, that you press a button, you get married and you have children, or you go to work and you get money? Or is somebody behind that process? Is somebody, through the good graces of their kindness, hiding behind the so-called process and through their benevolence gifting it to you? Is someone gifting you your salary to support your family? Is someone gifting you children behind the veil of the process of getting married? Is someone gifting you your produce behind the process of planting? If we would stop for a moment and think, well, wait a second, actually I can't take anything for granted. All the money I have is through the chesed and the rachamim of the creator of the universe, who hides himself in his humility and kindness and makes it look like it just happens naturally, when come to think of it, it's really the great miracle in the Yad of Hashem. And the fact that I found a wife, or the fact that I have children, there's no automatic process that you just have children. It's a miracle of the greatest proportions. It's a reflection of the mercy and the kindness of Hashem, so to speak, hiding behind the veil of Hadar. But in that veil of Hadar is Haid. And if you see the Haid of things, then you begin to start being able to have gratitude for it. We no longer say, we don't believe in nature. If you see the inner beauty, the inner mechanism, yes, I planted, but the Creator in His kindness and benevolence, He granted me crops. I married, but the Master of the Universe in His infinite mercy and compassion blessed me with children. I worked, but Hashem Barachamei Shamayim provided for me. If a person sees the height of the universe, they will never feel entitled or expectant, but you'll live with endless gratitude. The source of Haidah, the source of gratitude, is seeing the inner beauty of the universe. And therefore, Lahaidoisu Lahalel is not, so to speak, external to the Yom Tov of Chanukah. It's the very essence of the Yom Tov of Chanukah. It's the very essence of Chanukah. Adding on an extra day because oil burns is not external to Chanukah. It's the essence of Chanukah. Chanukah is fighting the worldview of the Yevanim, where we don't judge other people based on their externalities, and we don't view the universe based on their externalities. It's all the Rachamei Shamayim. So this is an essential and fundamental understanding of Chanukah, its connection to the Middah of Hoid, its connection to the added day of celebrating that HaKadosh Baruch Hu hides behind the veil of the external beauty of the world. But when we peel away the veil of the world and we peel away the Hadar, we come to the light and the splendor of Chanukah, we come to the inner beauty of Chanukah, and that's something that it's worthwhile to take with us throughout the whole year. Rabbi Isai, I wish you an amazing day. Bracha v'atzlacha. Thanks for joining today. Kol tov. Thank you.